Sultan Mehmed I, or better known as Mehmed Çelebi in Turkey, was the fifth sultan to ascend to the Ottoman throne. Mehmed was born in the former Ottoman capital Bursa in 1379, being the son of the soon-to-be Sultan Şehzade Bayezid and his last wife Devlet Hatun. The young Şehzade had a revealing face, thin and long brows with dark hazel eyes and a hook-shaped nose. Mehmed was quite talented with the sword and bow from an early age and loved to wrestle with his peers. Like former and future Ottoman sultans, Mehmed had a great education and was often praised by his teachers in Bursa and Edirne. At the age of 10, Mehmed's grandfather, Sultan Mehmed I, fell dead during the Battle of Kosovo, which saw his father take the Ottoman throne. Sultan Bayezid I, taking care of all other Ottoman claimants to the throne after the battle, ensured that one of his sons would succeed him to the throne one day. In 1391, during one of Sultan Bayezid's campaigns into Anatolia, Mehmed found himself in command of an Ottoman contingent invading the Çanak Beylik. Bayezid, being impressed by his 12-year-old son's command, made Mehmed the governor of Amasya, an important trading city in the region. Between 1391 and 1402, Mehmed served as the governor of Amasya, where he learned about government affairs and how to run a city. During wartime, Şehzade Mehmed would often serve in the Ottoman reserves while military campaigning with his Sultan father. This would be true during the Battle of Ankara in 1402, where the 23-year-old Mehmed served in the Ottoman reserves on the right flank. The bloody battle resulted in an Ottoman defeat which saw the Timurids under Timur capture Mehmed's father and brothers Mustafa and Musa. Due to Mehmed's commanding of the Ottoman reserves on the right flank during the battle, he had successfully withdrawn from the battle alongside with his reserves to Amasya. During the aftermath of the Battle of Ankara, Timur had reinstated the independence of many former Anatolian beyliks, thus weakening the Ottoman state in the region, which was one of the many goals of Timur to create chaos for the Ottoman state. In addition to that, Timur proclaimed that Mehmed was to be the new Ottoman Sultan, knowing too well that Mehmed's older brothers would reject their siblings' claim to the throne, thus starting a civil war. This action by Timur worked as Mehmed and his older brothers, Şehzade Süleyman, Şehzade Musa, and Şehzade İsa, all proclaimed themselves as the sultans of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire seemed like it was dead and was going to be yet another great Turkic empire that had collapsed due to civil war, like the Seljuk Empire 400 years ago. The last two Ottoman sultans had either been killed or captured in battle in quick succession, and it looked like this cycle would repeat itself with Mehmed. It seemed like the Ottomans were going to disappear from the pages of history, but Mehmed couldn't allow that to happen. The Ottoman Interregnum was a bloody civil war fought amongst the sons of Bayezid to see who would become the next Ottoman Sultan. After a bloody 11-year-old civil war which saw the Ottomans exhaust their manpower and resources, Mehmed would come out on top. The state Sultan Mehmed I that he inherited was a very bad and devastated state. The former beyliks of Anatolia had declared their independence from Edirne, Serbia had broken out of Ottoman vassalage, and the Byzantines gained some territories in the Balkans due to various treaties being signed during the Ottoman Civil War. In addition to that, the countryside of Anatolia was devastated after 11 years of total war. Things got worse when Sheikh Bedreddin, the former Karaskar of the dead Şehzade Musa, rose up in rebellion against Mehmed in the Balkans and Manisa in 1416. Thousands of former Musa supporters flocked to the ranks of Sheikh Bedreddin, which posed a serious challenge to the authority of Mehmed I as he attempted to reunite the Ottoman Empire and govern his Balkan provinces. Bedreddin had created a populist, religious, and social movement prompting the suppression of social statuses between the rich and the poor, as well as social barriers put by the Ottoman government on its Christian subjects. Successfully developing a popular social revolution and syncretism of various religions and sects of the empire, Bedouins' movements began in the European side of the empire and underwent a further expansion in western Anatolia. Although being hard to defeat, Mehmed and the Ottoman Grand Vizier Bayezid Pasha would crush these rebellions by 1420, which would result in thousands of people being executed for treason against the state. The Ottoman government in the preceding decades would take steps to ensure that Islam was further established as the state's religion to prevent revolts like this to ever happen again. As things weren't chaotic enough, Mehmed's remaining brother, Mustafa, who was held captive in Central Asia by the Timurids, had returned to Anatolia in 1416. Shahzada Mustafa, with the support of Manuel II of the Byzantine Empire, Mercy I of Wallachia, and Cuneyt Bey, the ruler of the Turkish Beylik of Aydın, mustered a sizable force at Thessalonica against Mehmed. Mustafa then demanded Mehmed to partition up the empire amongst each other. Mehmed would refuse his brother's demands, then easily defeat Mustafa's forces in battle instead. The shocked and defeated Mustafa took refuge in the Byzantine city of Thessalonica during the aftermath of the battle. After reaching an agreement with Sultan Mehmed, Manuel II, knowing that he had lost the war, exiled Mustafa to the island of Lemnos. Mehmed, on top of everything, was faced by the problem of his nephew, Orhan, who was perceived as a threat to his rule, much like his late brothers had been. Allegedly, there was a plot involving Orhan and Manuel II, who both conspired against Sultan Mehmed. However, before even taking any actions, Mehmed found out about this plot against his life and had Orhan captured and brought to him. Mehmed would order Orhan to be blinded for his betrayal to him and the state. Blinding was a common Byzantine practice used by their emperors to delegitimize a claimant to their throne, so the blinding of Orhan was done to humiliate Manuel II for his failure to seize Mehmed's throne. Sultan Mehmed I, during his 8-year reign as the sole Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, managed to accomplish a great number of achievements. Mehmed managed to keep the Ottoman Empire together from constant threats and even stabilize the empire in the process. He was also able to re-annex the beyliks of Teke, Saruhan, and Metishe, and parts of Albania back into the empire. Mehmed would also start to rebuild the strength of the Ottoman army and economy towards the latter years of his reign, as he acquired loot from his conquests. Things seemed to be going well for the Ottomans until disaster struck in 1421. Sultan Mehmed, during a hunting expedition, fell off his horse, which resulted in him being fully paralyzed. On his deathbed in Edirne, Mehmed summoned his Grand Vizier Bayezid Pasha and said to him, "Bring my eldest son Murat to me. I can't get off this mattress. If I die before Murat arrives, a huge storm will sweep the state. My wishes are for you to hide my death until Murat's arrival." Sultan Mehmed I would die at the age of 42 on May 26th of 1421. Leaving his empire to his 18-year-old son, Murad. Mehmed's death was kept a secret for 42 days until Murad ascended to the Ottoman throne in July of 1421. A little funny event happened during these 42 days in which Mehmed's death was kept as a state secret. Mehmed's former inner circle of state officials had put their former sultan's body in a litter in order to hide the decaying body of Mehmed. They even had one of their members from their ranks to hide underneath Mehmed's body and manipulate the former sultan's arms like he was stroking his beard in order to trick the palace guards that their sultan was still alive. It was only when Murad had arrived from Amasya and was ready to ascend to the throne that the news of Mehmed's death was released to the public. Sultan Mehmed I is regarded as the second founder of the Ottoman Empire due to him saving the Ottoman state from destruction throughout his 11 plus 8-year rule over the empire. If he had a Roman equivalent, Mehmed I would be Emperor Aurelian, who was the Roman emperor that reunited a Roman empire after a generation of civil wars. Both men, however, died too soon after their triumphs and were unable to rule over their stabilized states. But their successors would have a chance to rule over what they had saved in the first place. The Ottoman chronicles at the time stated that Mehmed, over his years on the battlefield, acquired more than 40 wounds during his 24-battle career. Mehmed, unlike his predecessors before him, would often fight in the front lines of battle since he spent most of his entire youth on the battlefields of Anatolia. The warrior Sultan was also a philanthropist in which he spent most of his salary on building projects all over his empire. Mehmed had built houses, mosques, hospitals, and even Turkish baths as a way to build the people's trust in the Ottoman government after all the chaos and mayhem during the Ottoman Interregnum. Although Mehmed didn't spend a lot of time in his imperial palace at Edirne, he had 3 wives from which he had 5 sons and 9 daughters from. In reality, Mehmed had spent most of his life on military campaigns just like his father, the lightning bolt Sultan Bayezid I. I guess the saying, like father like son, was true after all. Oh, never mind. And that concludes this edition of Ottoman Sultans. Enjoyed the video? Why not drop a like and share on this video? Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification too in order to never miss a video on this channel. This is Ege wishing to see you next time.